there's a difference between adding laser guns and Fortnite skins, sacrificing your vision, and in 90% of the community going, you've built the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. I just want to see it. That's not that. There's a difference.
It's not
there.
a drastic change in your
exactly.
vision. Yeah, to give us vision.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, the show dedicated to talking about all the podcast things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jesse Kazam.
And I stare directly. Somehow, I can stare directly into Jesse's soul.
Yeah.
Even though I am looking at him through my OBS preview window, he knows.
It makes it.
He knows exactly.
I was looking directly into my camera to not look at you, and then you were like, you're normally like this, kind of centered. You were like way off center and like this. And so when I looked over, I was just like,
hello.
Hello. What's up, man? How you doing?
So, well, I'm actually curious to know if we've completely flip-flopped. Yes or no? Have you had a good week in Tarkov the last few days?
Yeah, great.
Really?
Yeah, I've had a few rough raids, but like the past like 5 days were like so much better than the previous.
Mine have been completely unplayable. Dude, how does this happen, man?
Tinfoil hat, man. They're like it's Group A and Group B, House A and House B, and Nikita just flips the switch, and it's like, okay, and if you're in House A, you get the desync in your favor, right? Where they're desynced, and if you're in House B, and then he just flips them back and forth, so everybody feels pain and suffering and happiness. He keeps us on the drip of dopamine just long enough.
Okay, well, wait a minute though. Last week, weren't you playing on like reserve and some other?
Yeah, and interchange a lot.
And you didn't like those maps, did you?
Not even a little bit.
And now what were you playing this week?
More. I finished interchange, and then I was playing a lot more just like customs, some lighthouse, some factory for some dailies, the fun maps.
Okay, yeah, because I've been on reserve and streets. And
I've been playing a lot of streets, yeah.
Well, actually, streets hasn't been terrible.
Streets is like 50-50. Streets can go the way of like reserve and interchange, or it can be like the funnest experience ever.
Yeah, so I have like half a dozen occasions where I don't know what they did if they did anything with the scavs or if you've noticed anything, but half a dozen occasions where I'd be like creeping along, I'd hear footsteps, and I'd look and I'd be like, okay, someone's coming, and then all of a sudden I'd see a scav, kaboom, one tap, and then they go bum.
Yeah, dude,
as I'm
they laugh at you, bro. They laugh at you.
I've got like a montage ready to go of just them one tapping me again with like T45, just insta one tapping me. It's I don't know if because they recently nerfed them like a few weeks ago, and they were feeling better. Like they were feeling more like stormtroopers, which is, as we've discussed, like what we want. They make them better.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know what, if anything, has changed, or if this is.
It's just like the problem is the consistency, because like, and I understand that like a lot of times what I preach is we don't want consistency, because consistency means like static. And like, for instance, the spawns. I hate that the spawns are so consistent, because then the raids become really static. But the problem is there are certain things you want consistency with. And that's like the experience of like the AI, right? And that's what I'm saying is that like
the people are is what you want to be inconsistent.
Yeah.
Everything else, the game. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so frustrating that once again, it feels like your survival is not in your control. It feels like, and it's so frustrating, because we all, it's like we all choose to have the wrong conversation. I say scavs are OP, and then if I turn around a corner and a scav is, like looking the opposite direction while I'm shooting him in the leg, and he's like, oh, spinning around, people go, see, they're not OP, see, they're not this. And it's like, okay, you're right. Maybe OP is the wrong word, but like with how you experience a scav is a range of like easy, medium, and hard. The hard is way too far in hard. So sometimes they're easy, sometimes they're medium, and sometimes they're appropriately hard, and then sometimes they're giga hard. And people use that as a like, we'll see, you just shot him and he could have killed you, or Sniper Scav missed that time. And it's like, man, that it's inconsistent. It doesn't feel like I have like that clip I told you about last week where Sealable was behind 3 sets of bushes, 35 meters away, and jumping in midair, and a scav one tapped him through the bush. It's like the fact that that can happen at all feels like I don't have any sort of control over the situation. It just feels like sometimes I lose the dice roll and it's just game over. You know what I mean? It's the inconsistency. Me and Velian ran into the goons yesterday, and it was so weird. It was like we ran into the goons and we were like, Bird Eye doesn't make it.
Is the goons, is that name like canonical in Tarkov?
No, not at all. It's like
I don't know
Dickhead
where that
Rock.
came from.
It's like Dickhead Rock. It's just Dickhead no matter what. But we ran into the goons, and we didn't, and we were hearing him yell and stuff like that, and Bird Eye doesn't make footsteps. So we were like so scared for something. All right, well, we got to push eventually, right? So we push, and then bop, 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 Arsass, Bird Eye had just flanked around and was behind us. He hit me once, missed me every other time, and missed Velian every time. And we just like turned around and bursted him down, and he like completely missed. And people are like, the goons aren't that hard. And it's like, dude, it's so inconsistent. Sometimes they miss their shots. Sometimes they shoot you in the fog and the rain from a random window, one tap to the face. And it's so inconsistent. And that's what's brutal about it. And the scavs is like the most egregious form of that. It's just like, you just don't know what experience you're going to get.
Have you, by any chance in the last week, changed your servers at all?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out.
99.99% of all my Tarkov gameplay has been all the servers under, 150 ping, 100 ping or whatever. Like, I've never really messed with them.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. Like, just so many. A couple of days ago, it was like a day full of just sus.
Yeah.
Then yesterday was Netcode Central.
Yeah.
Where it was like I would come across somebody, and dude, I have multiple clips of me running up on a dude like looting a player scav, looting. I've been dying to a lot of player scavs, like more than ever.
Okay.
A guy looting one of the kills that I got, and I was like healing, and I had an M1, and I was just like went right up to him, bang, 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 and he like tabs out of the looting, and then gets his aim punched, and then it's just and I'm dead.
Yep.
And it's like,
yeah,
I guess he's just lucky, right?
Yep.
And then another instance where I'm in like the basement of one of the pawn buildings. I sweep out, and I've got the SR, whatever, the little shrimp SMG.
Oh yeah, the SR2. Yeah.
And it's like ba 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 ba, and you see like bullet, junk, and I die to a shotgun slug, an FTX light slug to the legs.
Yep.
And I'm peppering his naked face, almost point blank. Just a bunch of stuff like that. And then today, I literally did three immersion runs.
Okay.
And then I alt F4'd, and I've been playing like puzzle games for the last couple of days because I just can't. Like, and the first raid was, you could say like, okay, unlucky. There's not much to say. I started the raid, it's the first raid of the day. I do the immersion raid, and I spawned way up top on reserve.
Okay.
By like the radar tower. And then I went over by, how like along the rocks, like the edge of the rocks, looking over the whole map, there's like some bushes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I kind of nestled into one of those bushes because I got a phone call.
Okay.
And like 10 seconds later, M62 to the head. It was like, maybe a guy just came up the hill, and I was really unlucky, but like, give me a break. The next raid, I go in, and I spawn in the worst reserve spawn ever, in the bunker, and all the way in the corner.
Yeah.
So I go all the way around, and I'm on the maybe it's revision, whatever.
Yeah,
the one where
the
there's
tank
like 27 tanks, and you have to mark them all. So I went all the way. I like saw 2 or 3 of the tanks, and then I had to go over towards RBST. I was crossing the street, and then all of a sudden, I'm dead. One shot, and it was Nucky Skavosky streaming.
Oh, really?
Just one taps me with like a ghetto dong PSO AK-74. I was like, what do I do? Like, I have to cross the street.
Yeah.
You have to just run. There's not like there's anything I can do.
Yep.
I get one tapped. And then the next raid, I spawn in, and I run all the way to RBST, unlock the door, grab one of the quest items, you know, go to mark a tank. All of a sudden I hear someone running. And I was running like a rat rig and like a pistol. And I was just slow creeping all the way to the door. He ran into the corner. You know how like when you leave that great door, there's just a truck?
Yeah.
And he was in that corner right to the left. And he just sat there. It's like, so I just run out, see the guy, try to hold the angle. And of course, with the pistol, I'm like, bang, 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 bang. And he just sprays me down. None of my bullets hit and I'm dead. And it's like, I'm just done, dude.
Bro,
like,
I feel like, and I've been saying this for a few weeks now, this wipe, like, and it's obviously really hard to like tell if it's this wipe, if it's just me, if it's so super anecdotal, but it feels like there have been hit reg problems for me. That's a buzzword. You know, people say that all the time. Tarkov's got terrible netcode. It's got terrible hit reg. But like the amount of times I'm like watching clips back and frame by framing them, and it's like blood off the face, blood off the face, blood off the face, blood off the face, and then I die, and then the guy comes in and goes, "Yo, GG's," and I'm like, "How much did I hit you?" And he was like, "Oh, you missed all your shots." And it's like, oh, what, dude? I got Jay to go back in his VOD and find it. Okay, this is weird because this wouldn't be considered hit reg, I don't think. We were playing Interchange, me, Jay, and Nixia, and we were like running along just in the middle, like very center, Kiba, Mantis area, you know what I mean? The very center. And somebody is shooting at us from up top, bang, bang, bang. And I just go, and I just like look up and just like annihilate it. All shots, center mass, thorax movement. I'm like, okay, got him. And Jay goes, "Jesse, you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Bro, did you hit any of your shots?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Dude, all your shots, you just shot like the ceiling, like the floor underneath where that guy was." He was like, "None of your shots made it up." And I was like, "What?" And I made him go get the clip. And literally on my angle, all shots were center of mass thorax on this dude. I kill it. And you watch his clip and it looks like I'm just shooting the roof. Like under just boom, 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 all the bullet holes. It's just like they were 4 feet away.
Did he see the other guy die?
Yeah, I don't think where he was looking, he could see the other guy, but he could see the roof.
Yeah, you have to send me that.
I can
clip.
send you the clips. I have both clips. I literally just watched it. Yeah, he couldn't see his angle looking straight up. He couldn't see the guy because I was farther back than him and I could. And like my shots go like way underneath. Like not a single shot from Jay's perspective, not a single shot would have even come remotely close to a kill shot on that guy. And so on his screen there were all these bullet holes on the floor, like underneath, and on mine there wasn't a single one. And I was like, what is that? Like, what is that? You could see on his screen, you could see all the impacts. It was like,
dude, something is
I was like, what is this, dude? Like, something
seriously wrong with the networking right now.
Yeah.
Not even just like worse than it's ever been.
Yeah.
That's why we like that's like desync is like an understatement there.
Yeah.
Like your player location.
Yeah. Something, like, whether it was like my client not knowing where I was, my client sending information to the server and the server misinterpreting it, like something was wrong. And it was weird because it was like his client registered me shooting. It registered me shooting in the correct direction, but it was like a 4 foot offset, like 4 foot of in-game offset of where all the bullets. And you can even, what's funny is you can see the recoil pattern of my gun in the bullet holes underneath. It wasn't like they all laser beamed to one spot. It was it was appropriate. Like I start shooting and it goes up and you can see them all go, but it was completely 4 feet in the wrong direction. And so like, how weird is that? And like, how many ways can that hide over? I said hide over network. Like how many ways can that manifest in other ways? You know what I mean?
Yo, holy, how much? Okay, wait. What you're describing sounds like, imagine your location is like offset.
Yeah.
Like there's some miscalculation with like your XYZ position. Dude. Oh my God. Now I have a theory. It's probably, but like all of this stuff is is tied together, including what I'm getting at is the invisible players. Like imagine if you're actually not invisible, your player model is just in
outside the map.
Negative
Oh,
like remember how remember
yeah.
scavs back in the day? You'd hear the scav, but their player model would be totally decent location wise.
Damn. That's actually a crazy theory. That's a crazy theory. But yeah, like the Y is just like 400 meters off or something like that. And
yeah, and maybe what you saw in this clip was like a small,
which would make sense that people, you don't see or hear. People are thinking it's an audio, but it could have nothing to do with audio. If your character's actually 400 meters away, he would be making audio gunshots and everything over there. And so if there is an out of sync offset with like, holy cow. I mean, listen, obviously we didn't like just figure it out, but that could be something.
It
would make sense. It would replicate the bug. You know what I mean?
If I was debugging this, you know, what I would do is get a test build up of that literally just had every 5 seconds print the player's coordinates to like the console. And then it shouldn't be hard for the testers at BSG to reproduce this issue, given how common it is. It shouldn't be difficult. So then, I mean, you could easily say, okay, are you invisible? Open up your console, and you'd see like, you know, whatever the negative max int rollover number, like negative 9,827,000, you know, whatever. You know, I don't know, but
dang.
Yeah, I mean, there's just like, and I actually had another extremely weird situation like that I just simply do not understand. So when you're invisible, you do not make any noise, except your VoIP is actually positional.
Yep.
But you don't make any gun noise, you don't make any footstep noise. And of course, you're invisible to the people who you're invisible to. So when you get shot, like if you get shot in the helmet, you'll still hear the helmet impact noise, and you'll hear your character go, you know, but you won't hear anything else. So I was on streets, I think it was yesterday actually, and I saw there was a player scav running, and I was like laying into him, and I was kind of like, I had like an AK like full auto, so I only hit a couple of shots, and he was really. So then I like was reloading, and he ran up to the tank, and I like peeked the corner, and the guy was just looking like he was looking in the direction in which I knew something was wrong. Because normally you're either like running away or you're like turned towards the person while you're healing, and the dude just started like consuming all this food, and I'm like rather than being facing you like this, he was like this. Like a blind person. You know, when they're like talking to you a little bit off kind of thing. Like, so I was like, yo, dog, am I invisible to you? And I'm pretty sure he had VoIP off. And I was just walking around talking to him. He wasn't responding. Nothing. All this stuff. I like aimed at him.
Chilling.
He did nothing. But then 45 seconds later, he turned and started spraying me. And I was like, what the like I think he was faking it or something. Or unless I like popped into existence, which
that's weird. Because did you take damage?
Oh yeah, and I would have died.
See, that's what's crazy is that
I think he was lying that I was invisible somehow.
Maybe that's crazy, because if you are invisible, you won't take damage either.
Yeah,
like you won't take damage, which actually kind of supports the like your players way off somewhere else. But how weird would that be if you like popped in? If it was just
I don't know,
whoop, and you like
he wasn't. It was. I mean, if he was playing it off like I would, like that's way
weird.
Too meta of
that's
a thing.
Way too meta.
Imagine you're gonna be a player scav and you're like, if I start to die to a player and there's nothing I can do, I'm gonna pretend like I can't see them, and then you'd hope that I would be like it. Basically, if he would voice back and I was like, it said you're not visible to me, I would have been like, all right, dude, I'm gonna let you go. Like, this, I don't want to kill you. Like, this isn't cool. But he just like he didn't even look at me. I think I could probably find
that's
find
crazy.
A clip or whatever, but it was really weird, dude. But there's just so much wrong with the networking, and I don't know that I guess it depends on how you define hit reg.
I don't really know any technical terms, but sometimes it just feels like shots aren't happening.
Yeah, well, anyway, so this week has been just complete and utter dog. I'm feeling like super down about the game, you know, and it's
I mean, it's we're coming off the high of everything that happened like these past few weeks, man, where it's like the changes were so good and are still so good, and all of the things that the game that came with those changes are still feeling so much better, but it's just like, okay, sure, those things are good, but yeah, a lot of the things feel worse than they've ever been. You know what I mean? Like I was literally saying weeks before the patch, I don't think the audio could get any worse. So I'm excited for Oculus Audio. And interchange, like so much of, I really think that so much of the experience is like where you play, and not that like interchange is objectively worse in terms of audio than like something like customs, because the entire, it's just the nature of it. But like, I think it's truly like maps you're familiar with. I think there's a subconscious, like, I've played customs 10,000 raids, and so I kind of just like, you kind of just know the pathing of players enough to get around the bugs a little bit, some of the bugs. And so when I'm placed in an environment I'm not as comfortable with, reserve or interchange, I am less comfortable with the pathing and all that stuff. So I'm much more reliant on what I see and what I hear. And then when those things, inevitably fall apart, but obviously the audio is crazy. It really does. It's hard to say without it just being completely anecdotal, but it really does feel like the networking is just worse. Not only the invisibility bug, but also just like crazy desync, crazy weird hit reg stuff, crazy.
I only get hit behind walls.
Yeah,
now.
like it's
always.
And on top of, and it's always like, when people think that the cheating situation is the worst it's ever been, whether it is or it isn't, I'm not saying it definitively isn't. I'm just saying like these things are the worst. You know what I mean? To having a legitimately invisible player bug by legitimate players is the worst kind of bug to have when a cheating problem is happening. Having no audio, having a crazy desync. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's so rough. It's so
toxic to the community, dude.
So, yeah, for sure. It's poison to the community because it manifests itself in the community arguing with each other about what the biggest issue is, right? And what's what. And like you get the weird white knights that are like, that wasn't a cheater, bro. You know what I mean? He just slipped and he just got lucky. It was a lucky shot. You know what I mean? And then you have the other people that are like, no matter what, they're calling cheats, and you watch the clip and it's like, dude, come on. You
see the guy. Yeah. You see a guy spin botting.
Oh yeah.
And someone's like, maybe he hit his DPI button, dude. Come on.
Yeah, dude. The dude could be reading you your social security number, and somebody would be like, well, maybe, he stole it online and then wasn't cheating. Like it's crazy. So it's hard because then the community argues with each other about what's the biggest bug. Then you get like every single tweet or every single thing changed by Battlestate Games. It's all just like, fix this, fix that. You get the weird thing, which we'll talk about the LUT thing in a minute, but then people were so butthurt about like you address the LUT so fast, but you're not addressing the audio so fast. And then it's like, okay, well, those are kind of different things. It's just like, no matter where you turn, you're like, even when people are trying to be on your side, you're like, all right, calm down. We can't equate these two things. If we're going to yell at them, let's yell at them for the right things and not yell at them. And so it's just really hard. It's just really hard, man. It's just really brutal. And then once again, and then on top of that, when the other things that are in the game that like the things that are easier to fix, like the scavs, when you get one tapped to a scav on a good raid, you know what I mean? I was in a nighttime fight. We found a dead guy. We double clicked and he died to like 338 FMJ. And we were like, somebody's got either like an AXMC or a Lapua Magnum. And so we're like, okay. And then we got shot at and we were like, he's over there. And then because it was night, we were like, we think he has a FLIR. I was in an 18-minute fight with this guy. We were going to make a flank. Velian died to another player. I killed that player. I wanted to loot Velian's body to ditch his gear, but he was in a really exposed shot, and I thought this guy had a thermal. So I make a huge flank around gas station. I hear him. He has to fight scavs. I use that audio to position on him. It was picture perfect textbook, amazing fight. I see him. He hits me in the arm. My whole body lights up red. I light him up through the bush. I'm running to make a flank, and I swear to God, my elbow touches a twig, and I'm reduced to 0 movement speed, and I'm just walking towards him, mashing sprint again, and he goes, whoop, boom. And he comes into chat, and I'm like, dude, GG's, great movement, great positioning, great fight, but F this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was like, you're in the fight for 18 minutes. It was so good, and you're just like, and then you just want to punch your monitor because it's silly stuff like that. You know what I mean? And because you're like, I finally have a good raid. It's a good raid. Nobody's cheating. If he was cheating, I would have died already. Everything is fine. The audio's, we're not with multiple floors, so I can trust all the audio. And then that happens, and you're just on my heart. It's just like
you described yesterday for me in reserve. because I've been trying to find the raiders forever. They never spawn for me, or I get down there and they're already dead.
Yeah.
And this was like my 5th raid yesterday after 4 garbage ass raids, and I had like a decked out M4 with like 360 rounders with like 8.55, which is like I'm investing some in this raid. I come downstairs, I flip the switch, and I hear instantly like the raiders,
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, thank God. So I run through like the glass around the corner, and they spawn all the way over by like the water, and they just come sprinting. Literally, I needed 5 kills, and it was like
yeah.
I completely demolish all 5 of them. I'm like, yo, it's still early. I got here fast. I can loot these guys, take D2, and get the fuck out.
Yep.
Like, this is amazing. So I run back into the room with like the filing cabinets over by the glass.
Yep.
In the corner, and I'm like healing, bleeding, all this stuff. And then I hear a scav voice line muffled somewhere in that direction.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I'm CMSing my arm. All of a sudden, I hear the scav voice line on the other side of the door. I look, and he walks kind of backwards through the door, and I'm like, cancel. And my guy's like, I'm gonna close my
stapling the thing.
1, Clippy number 2, and I'm sitting there like all I can do is go left, right, crouch, left, right, crouch, while I'm canceling this animation, and he kills me with like a Taz or whatever, and it's like, how is this possible? And of course people are like, oh, you shouldn't be using your CMS kit when you haven't cleared the air. It's like, if there's nothing that I can see or hear, there's no reason for me to think there's a scav. And when I do hear a scav, it sounds like he's far enough away that CMSing my stomach.
And you did just clear the area. You killed 5 things right in front of you. You were like, all right, sweet. Yeah, it's it's brutal. It's brutal. So yeah, I mean, like, ultimately it's good to vent, but it's like more of the same like sentiment that I was saying last week, where it's like the changes are good, but the game just robs you all day long. It robs you with the bugs. Some of the bugs are understandable. Some of the bugs seem kind of ridiculous. And then on top of that, it robs you with the experience, with the scavs sometimes, the animations sometimes, there's these little things, and it's just so hard to get through to a decent raid. Now, that being said, I'm finally off like interchange, and I've been playing like customs. I've been doing like Insomnia, playing some streets and stuff like that. And we've had some really good raids, some really fun fights, some really cool engagements. So like I've had like a relatively decent week, but it's just, the tiltometer just goes up to 100 so quickly. You know what I mean? When there's all this stuff. Yeah. But
and then the Tarkov community, with all the shit that's been going on, has been in a complete and utter dumpster fire, just like the game,
bro. And that's what's crazy, is that like all the stuff we have to talk about on the podcast tonight are like more community related and less like gameplay changes. But we can start, I guess, with like the LUT / filter. If you're not familiar with photography or videography, then you might not know the term LUT. Everyone was saying they were calling them filters, which is kind of that makes sense. But basically, I mean, like,
I'm toggling on and off my LUT on my camera while you speak. I'll do that here. Yeah. So anybody watching the video can see the difference.
Yeah. So essentially, a LUT it stands for lookup table. It's basically just like a saved preset of color changes that you can apply. You know what I mean? They're the original Instagram filters. Those are basically where all those filters came from, as we know them, is just like really like aggressive LUTs. And a lot of times LUTs are specifically made for a specific type of footage or something that, you know what I mean? Or specifically made for like shooting in a certain lighting or something. So the filters we see today on Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok and stuff like that are just like really aggressive filters, and people put them over whatever. And that's where we get filter and we get that, perception of filters. But a LUT is a lookup table, and it's a really hyper specialized filter for a specific thing. And so a creator by the name of Art is War, who has worked professionally on shows like Better Call Saul and the Breaking Bad movie El Camino that Netflix did. He's like worked on this stuff, doing like color and I don't know exactly what he did on them. Created, and he plays Warzone, and he created these specifically for Warzone, and then just like heard a lot about Tarkov, and that Tarkov struggles with lighting, got connected with a few Tarkov creators like Trade 24K and a few other ones, and was like, oh, cool. And then like basically made a few. He didn't just take the Warzone ones. He made a few for Tarkov. And the way you would had to do it is it wasn't a LUT that you applied to the game. It was a LUT you applied to your monitor. So everything you looked at your monitor on, no matter what, would have this filter applied to it. And so you had to run a third-party software that basically allows you, because you got your color change settings on your monitor, and then you also have your NVIDIA control panel, but to take somebody else's preset and apply a LUT at the monitor level, you needed a third-party software to do that. So that was what that was. You pointed the LUT to your monitor, and it applied the LUT. You could toggle it on and off. And that was that. Creator, really, I haven't engaged with him too much, but seems like a really awesome guy. Did it for like really cool reasons. It's just he's passionate about it and did it and put him up. And then Trey really kind of like put it out there and was like, yo, these are sick, and made a YouTube video about it. And then subsequently, maybe 3 days later, BSG tweeted out saying like, hey, we're blocking the DMW underscore LUT, the program that allowed you to apply the LUTs. We're blocking that. You will not get banned. It said in the tweet, which this was a point that a lot of people misunderstood. So many people said you're going to get banned. The tweet literally says there will be no bans. It's like Reshade, where the game just won't open if you have Reshade open. You just have to get rid of Reshade. You know what I mean? So, and yeah, and then obviously the community went nuts. So first of all, did you try them when they were up? Okay.
No, I didn't. So for multiple reasons, I wouldn't have even considered it because the tutorial video was like inscrutable. It was like, do this, and it was like way too many steps.
Yeah.
Even if I wanted to,
yeah,
it was like, yeah, not that interested. I never used Reshade, and two,
nor did I, by the way,
because I knew that this was going to be a controversial thing.
Yeah.
I didn't want any part of it.
Yeah,
I was just like, I don't want anybody to. I predicted that people were going to make, and I'll get into why I think this, but people are going to make what I consider a stupid argument about wanting an unfair advantage, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't even want to have to defend against that. I'm just not interested.
Yeah. Okay. So I tried one of the filters just because I wanted to see what was up. And this was in the middle of me trying to finish Longline. I had been on Interchange for a week, mauling my freaking face. So I think that's why. Normally I wouldn't. I'm a woods enjoyer. I'm a customs enjoyer. I'm outside all day, baby. The color's fine. Yeah. And I'd been on Interchange for a week, and I was like, fine, I'll try the stupid filter. So I downloaded the thing. Brother, it was unreal. I turned it on. And immediately in the back of my head, I was like, I like thought about like how I was going to process how I told us to chat. I turned it on and I was like, I can't use this. It was so good. I didn't want to, not that I felt like I was cheating. I didn't want to have to explain it either. It was so good that I didn't want all the questions of like, bro, how do you know what I mean? Just over and over and over again.
How did you see that person?
Exactly. And the arguments and like, how did you see them? Well, I have this filter. Oh, well, that's cheating. Like it was so good. But dude, let me tell you, it was so good. I don't know what kind of magic he put in that filter, but like, I
saw screenshots. Trey sent me screenshots before all this went down.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, do they both look like?
No.
He's
yeah.
like, and then he said, I sent you the wrong thing. I like double filtered over OBS, and then he never sent me the updated ones. So it just looked like if I turned the gamma up from like 70 to 100.
Dude, I need to find. Because I was texting somebody, I was texting my buddy Adam, and he was saying the same thing. And I said, go to my VOD and go to this time. And then he texted me back. He was like, oh, that looks way better than the images I saw. So I need to find, here we go. Here's a good, yeah. How do I send a time-stamped?
When you go to share, you should be able to do like share from like there should be a checkbox.
Yeah. Anyway, so while I'm figuring this out, they were really, really good. It was like magical in the sense of just like it made you like I could see on Interchange. It was nuts. And yeah, they were just like, it didn't last long. It was like a day or two. All right, here we go. share.
So wait, when was it, you wouldn't see it on your stream, right? Like the stream wouldn't see what you were seeing.
It was all like cloning. Because I cloned my display, the Elgato capture card did pick up the display.
So you could toggle it on and off and show.
Yeah, that's why you can see it on the stream. But then for other people, like if you didn't toggle, you had to apply it to your OBS if you wanted, yada, yada, yada.
How do we want to do this? Are you going to want to put a... Oh my God. Okay. Literally, I pull up the still frame, and what's that little tech shop where sometimes there's like a GPU like one in a million times?
German.
The fact that I can see the back wall is a miracle.
That's why I said that clip. There's like 20 minutes of me testing it out if you want to look, but that's why. Like, just look at that. I'm telling you, dude. You can show it on stream if you want. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God, let me pull this up.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I ran into interchange and I ran right to where I'd need it. It wasn't just like, oh, it makes the colors look colorful. I was like, I wanted to show people, where.
This is ridiculous.
I have to write down to like play the clip right here.
Complete and utter. I've never seen those. I swear to you, I've never seen those two posters on the back wall. I've never seen the back wall. Like, that's a problem, dude.
And so this was an offline raid, and I ran around a lot and to a few different places, and it's crazy, dude.
What?
Yeah. So like, it's crazy how much it helped with like just the visibility and like brightening up without making the bright parts too bright or anything like that.
Like anybody's okay. This just completely hammers down my. Let me switch back to this. It completely hammers down my opinion on this, which is anybody who looks at that and says it's an unfair advantage, in my opinion, is being. It's so insanely. It's like the streamer version of like what's the phrase, virtue signaling. Like they're like they oh my God, I don't even know how to. It makes me so angry.
Yeah, it's just such a like unfair advantage in the sense that Battlestate Games tied a blanket around your face and 7 of us punched them and pulled the blanket down, right? Like, I can't see through walls. I can just see. You know what I mean? So it's like unfair advantage is such a hard thing because yes, like that thought process makes sense through the lens of like, you can see things that 98% of the player base wouldn't, to see, like, but not like see things. It's just like, they added a handicap to that map, and this was a like free tool to get rid of the handicap. And of course it wasn't an elegant tool. It applied to your whole monitor, which means out of raid, your whole game is going to look weird. It's like, I wouldn't want to use it other than just in interchange. So I'd be toggling it between map. It's not an elegant solution, but the reason it's not an elegant solution is because the game sucks. And it's like, they could just make the lighting better. You know what I mean? And once again, we've talked about it a million times, just so people don't come at me in the comments. I understand lighting is complicated, but just like the movement changes, we're just adjusting sliders and it made the whole game feel better. I think we could adjust some sliders and get the interchange lighting 80% better. Not perfect, not where it should be, but 70% better, 80% better in an hour. You know what I mean? So it's like, so that's what I'm saying is that like, the big thing was like, well, they banned reshade. And it's like, you remember what they did when they banned reshade? They gave us post effects. They said, here's a tool. We're getting rid of this tool, but here's a tool. You know what I mean? So it's like, so that's what I would
remember. We used to play before the post effects.
Yeah.
And think about, like, I have my brightness on 69.
Yeah.
And it's still not even remotely.
Yeah. So that's what I was talking about, where it was like, I messaged Trey and I was like, what a missed opportunity for them to like leave it up for a few more days. Basically work on their own internal LUT or filter to apply to interchange and only interchange. And tweet that and say, we banned this, but we made some adjustments to lighting. They could have turned this into a W. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like if they left it up for another week and they said, hey, we don't like that third party, because I can kind of understand that thought process. It uses a third party software. Theoretically, people could create LUTs that were not for color, but specifically to like really rip the contrast and maybe get into it to territory that's unfair. And those things would be hidden. And I'm not saying that that would happen. I'm saying I can at least understand that thought process. And they could have said, okay, well, we don't want to get this, but let's, you know, maybe let's do something. Let's provide something. Because interchange was what everyone was talking about, right? Nobody was sending me clips of the LUTs on streets. Nobody was sending me clips of the LUTs on woods, right? And everybody was going into interchange and being like, oh my God, I can see. So to not just like take the opportunity to recognize the community frustration, maybe make some changes and then ban it. I was like, oh, that's just like, I kind of had a feeling it wasn't going to last long either, but like, man, you could have just, I don't know.
Yeah, so there's a few things here that I want to talk about. One is the idea of quote unquote unfair advantage. In my opinion, this is an example of a fair advantage.
Yeah.
I don't consider it unfair in exactly the same way that having a better monitor, higher resolution, turning your brightness up,
Higher refresh rate monitor.
like conceptually they're the same things. It's external hardware and software. The whole idea of allowing third-party software as if that's like a really easy black and white thing. Like, let's be honest, we've all got Logitech software running
And Discord overlays on our games. And
yeah, like there's so much stuff that interacts with the game and our computer and the displays, hardware and software, that the whole idea of just saying, oh, it's black and white, it's so easy, it's third-party software.
Yeah.
Modifying your experience in the game, therefore it's bad. And it's like, okay, again, where do you draw the line? Because you now cut out half of the things we all use and have never thought about.
Isn't NVIDIA Reflex, which is a system specifically designed to reduce latency so that you can win more games, specifically an NVIDIA thing, and they baked it into the game? Don't you need an NVIDIA card for that to get NVIDIA Reflex? Like, wouldn't that be an unfair advantage?
I mean,
like, you know what I mean? Like it's
so yeah, that's something that I just want to talk about. The other thing is the idea that there was a lot of content creators, and I was kind of just like disappointed with how many of them on Twitter were saying, all of you people who just want an unfair advantage, sorry, all of you people who just want an advantage over other, like, as if that's why people are doing it.
Yeah.
I wish everybody had the same exact experience as I could see from your clip right there.
Yeah.
I don't want an advantage. I just want to see.
Yep.
And that's not, and that's a distinction that, like, it's so disingenuous to quantify or to qualify everybody who wants to use this thing as people who just need their advantage.
Exactly.
They need, like,
people that are just
fucking childish
to min-maxing everything so that they can beat everyone else. And it's like,
that's absurd.
It's as simple as like this guy was like, do you want to see on interchange? And people were like, yes. And that's the thing, is like, I said the same thing. I was like, man, I wish I could guarantee that everybody would download this. Like, I wish I could just like preload this on all copies, because then I wouldn't feel, because then it would feel great. You know what I mean? Like, it's exactly what you said. I don't want this to be an advantage I have over others. I want all of us to have this experience. Yeah. I want all of us to have this experience. I don't want to hide
in exactly
this.
The same way. This is just the visual version of stamina drain.
Yeah.
It's visibility drain.
Yeah.
Remove that and you would have a giant, nobody would complain. The only person that doesn't want it, I think, to be honest, I think Nikita. I think Nikita's probably the only person on planet Earth that genuinely wants it to be as dark as it is, because he likes the tone and he likes the atmosphere. And listen, it's his game. He can do what he wants. But at the same time, I still think that any and all of us should be able to say, we think that this is a mistake. And, it all comes down to whether or not he wants to, sacrifice his art, quote unquote. But I will say a couple other things. One, also in response to what a lot of people were saying, on Twitter and elsewhere. Well, just use a flashlight? Why don't you just
Oh,
use a
yeah.
flashlight?
That's so
And
bogus.
here's the thing. This is not, and I said this too. This is not a stylistic thing. It's not a like tone thing. It's actually like, in my opinion, I would argue that it's broken, that it's bugged,
Mhm.
or it's implemented incorrectly.
I
Like
agree.
the way in which, when you look at the darkness and the lighting and the fog and how the three of them interact, it makes no sense.
Yep.
So like, it's almost like there's like a literal fog of war where you shine your flashlight down like a hallway, and
Yep.
there's a point at which you just can't see anything. It's just gray.
Yeah.
And then you take like a step forward and it like disappears. But there's like a threshold
Yeah.
where it's like you can't see, and you can't, and it's like light doesn't work like that. When I went into Streets, there's there's those two quests in Streets in the like a hotel where there's like 206 and 215.
Yep. Yep.
So if you go down the hallway, there's that little like cleaning closet.
Yeah. Yeah.
With usually you'll get like T-plugs and other shit in there.
Yep.
Right outside there's a couch. Next time you're there, check it out. And there's a ceiling light. That light is the sun.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the brightest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. And you look down, and the couch underneath it is dark. It's directly underneath the brightest light in the entire game. The brightest light source in the whole game, and the whole thing is in shadow. The lighting is implemented incorrectly.
Yeah. Yep.
Why is your body not casting a shadow when you're between the light and the floor? It's just dark.
Yeah. I just sent you 2 pictures on Discord. One, I have my flashlight on, and one, I have my flashlight off.
You see more with the flashlight off.
Yeah. Can you see sealable either way? Like,
I see one pixel of white.
yeah.
Is that him?
Yeah.
Like,
on the left.
dude, it's literally a black blob with 1 pixel of white. That's probably like his sunglasses bugged out or something.
And if you took a quick look at that and you didn't know exactly where he was, look at the image where the flashlight is on. Like, yes, technically he went from 1 pixel to like 4% you can see him, but like the whole use flashlights, bro, are like, I can't see. The balance of flashlights are so backwards in the sense that if a player is shining a flashlight at you at any distance on the version of the planet Earth Tarkov is in, you can't see anything. You can't see their entire body head to toe. If they're pointing a flashlight on you, it could be broad daylight, it could be the middle of the night, it could be underground, it could be above ground. If they're pointing it at you. But the other way around, in a dark area, when Sealable Bag in that picture was 20 meters in front of me, in a dark area underground where there's very little light, when I turn on my flashlight, I still can't see him. That is the complete opposite way it should be balanced, where they're used as a visual aid tool, and they can be used to blind opponents, but not 3 feet above you, 3 feet below you, 4 feet in either direction. It's just a completely white blob, right? You know what I mean? Like it's so backwards. And so like when people, I got that clip the other day, and so when people are like, just use a flashlight if the game's too dark, it's like, you've never played Interchange. If you think that, you've never played Interchange. Every single time I turn on my flashlight, I can see less. It's like
I can't see, and the person who I'm shining at also can't see. It's a dog experience for everybody.
Yeah.
And like I might be able to find the clip, although probably not. I streamed like 50 hours in the last 3 days. But like there are times where you'll be like standing in a corner of like, light gray walls everywhere.
Yeah.
And you'll turn on your flashlight and there's just no like light, like spillage. There's nothing. And unfortunately I've been playing a bunch of very well designed, they're granted single player, games like The Witness and all these things where like the lighting is phenomenal. And so like you see the lighting and the sound, where you see the light like properly scattering.
Yeah.
And oh god, dude. So yeah, I'm doing a lot more research and talking to a bunch of people who know very, very, very much what they're talking about. One of the other things I looked at, if anybody is interested in this stuff, if you go to the Unity documentation, I'm gonna post this in chat as well. If you go to the Unity documentation, there's and search for linear or gamma workflow. Maybe you'll find the page, but I just posted it in chat. Go ahead and click on that link, and there's pictures there that you can see in the documentation for Unity where it compares linear space and gamma space.
Interesting.
And so yeah, pull it up and you can see, I think Tarkov is using gamma space.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of stuff about like color blending and how it's supposed to look, you know, which has more realistic lighting or realistic colors. I don't know. I still have to look more into it, but there's a lot about how they handle the blending with the shadows and the lighting, as well as this kind of stuff that I'm trying to learn to see, like, if maybe.
Have I showed you? So I just sent you one final image in Discord. Have you seen that before, or Seal showed you that?
Show me what again?
I just sent one last picture in Discord.
Oh. Yep. Yeah.
And that was just like basically recreating interchange in Blender. And there's in that picture there's one single light source. It's just the sun at noon directly above. That's it. And that's how light works in the real world, right? Where it like bounces and reflects and like, you know what I mean? So light does not work in Tarkov really, but interchange specifically. The other example, if you wanna blow your own mind, is go offline interchange, turn the power on, run in the underground, right? Take a screenshot, go to streets, and go to the literal underground parking garage under Concordia, and look at the difference. It's night and day. Even though on streets there are still lighting problems, it's a complete. I would tell you that those were different video games if I'd never played Tarkov before. I would tell you that they're different video games. It's like they're different color spaces. It's different. It's a different universe. You know, you get the SSR reflections of the water pools. Light is bouncing off the cars. Whereas those pictures that I sent you earlier, there's a forklift right there in the picture, and there's no like light bouncing off of it or illuminating or anything. You know what I mean? So it's like something is wrong with lighting, and then something is really, really wrong with interchange lighting. And then I guess we'll circle back to the conversation. And the LUT thing was hard. And like I said, my takeaway, my answer to everybody that was like, what's going on? Or like, what do you think about this? Or are you mad? It all just went back to like, I just wish BSG would just fix interchange. Like if the lighting wasn't bad, we wouldn't need this. You know what I mean? And it's like, and it's just so weird. Exactly what you said. The third-party software discussion is so vague because it's a pick and choose third-party software type situation. They literally, because of how prevalent third-party software was in Reshade, they actually made an implemented feature in the game called post effects so that we can adjust our lighting. And people have used that for some sort of, you know, quote unquote unfair advantage. The whole white phosphorus night vision, because it's so much easier to see. There's like people have all these like really aggressive post effect settings that they just turn on interchange. And that's in the game. That's a thing that they literally put in the game because of how prevalent Reshade was. And so I get it. Man. It's really it really wasn't an elegant long-term solution, no matter what, to have these LUTs, right? Not at all. But so my thing was less of like the fact that the software got banned and less of like taking an opportunity to extend the olive branch and be like, I want Nikita to look into a camera and tell me that he just played 10 rounds of interchange and thinks the lighting is good. Because I think this is one of those things where he thinks it's good and he hasn't seen it in a long time. And this is one of those things.
Maybe he sees some screenshots and tonally they look cool. They look badass.
Outside or up top under the skylights. But like, this is one of those things where I'd bet my 6,000 hour account what we have is not what he wants, but he hasn't seen it in the right perspectives. He hasn't seen the underground. He hasn't seen it in certain lighting conditions. And he hasn't seen, and I want to show him that clip of me in German. I'll be like, at noon, midday, 13 feet from a skylight, should I be able to see the back of this wall, even though it's a dark, dingy map? So like, that's where it hurts for me, is because I truly believe, just like the movement, when you said he like played the game and was like, oh yeah, like I see what you guys are talking about. I want him to play 5 interchange raids. I want him to run around an offline and then look into a camera and say, this is what I want. And I'll shut up about it forever. Even though I'll disagree, like you said, it's his game, but I am convinced that it's not what he wants. And that whatever disconnect that existed with those other changes, where the devs are doing their job and they're adding changes and they're doing whatever, and then Nikita says everything is fine because I haven't, whatever, they haven't told me it's broken. Whatever disconnect, I believe that's there with this as well. And I believe that in an instant he'd be like, something's wrong. Like, we should look into this. You know what I mean? So, and then we just wouldn't need it. And then we wouldn't need the LUTs. We wouldn't need the thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, this whole thing should be an indication of it's a symptom of a larger problem. Everybody was looking at it like, oh, people just came out with the new fucking advantage of the day and everybody needs to. And it's like, no, somebody came up with a solution, a temporary hack solution for a problem that we've all been, not all, but that many of us have been upset about. And the fact that so many people had to double down and say like, they want you to use flashlights, or it's a post-apocalyptic mall without power or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I put in Discord, someone who actually found, I don't know if they just went on Google Images, but it's like a dilapidated mall. Did you see the picture that I sent? It's in Discord. Click on the tweet.
Okay.
It's literally a side-by-side of interchange, and then that's like a mall that has skylights.
Yeah.
But it's clearly totally dilapidated, and it's like, and then you look at interchange, and it's a noontime, bright sunny day, and the ground is just dark.
And that's such a great side-by-side example, because as I've been screaming from the rooftops for so long, I don't want interchange to not be dark. That the word dark needs to be removed from the conversation about interchange, because this image right here is perfect. I want this. I want this lighting, even though you can see underneath where the light isn't, it's dark. That makes sense, but it's not dark and foggy and freaking high beams in high fog reflecting all the light back into my own face from my flashlight. That's just dark. And down there, underneath there, if I turned a flashlight on, I'd get really good visibility, not worse visibility. Dark is not a part of this conversation. I do not want to brighten it. I want to fix it. And that's why that's such a good comparison, because it's just like, you can't even see. I don't know. Click the tweet.
And you know what the other part is too, looking at interchange, like, it's the middle of the day and like all the lights are on except for the ones down, maybe down the halls to the right and the left. Why? All the lights are on.
Yep.
Like every light you can see in the entire middle. So like, what the is the deal? Was it this dark when it was before the war?
Exactly. Before the fall of civilization. Because
the lights are on and it's the middle of the day with a massive skylight. Why is it so dark?
And that's the thing. Those 2 pictures I sent you of the flashlight test on interchange, power was on. The lights were on in the parking garage.
So like, why would it be that dark?
Exactly, dude. That's what I'm saying. So it's just,
oh my god. Yeah. And see, now I look at the picture that you sent of Sealable, where that Sealable made, and I would say that is probably too bright.
For what
probably
Nikita
too
wants.
Like saturated for what Nikita wants. I am all for that. Turn the saturation down a little bit and make it tonally darker.
Yeah.
But there's a million units of lumen between A and interchange.
There's a million degrees between that and what we have.
Yeah.
And 100%. 100%, man. So I agree that I feel like it got really weird really quickly. I feel like the thing I was disappointed with the most was the assuming negative intent. Was exactly that. It was the assuming that if you used it, if you endorsed it, if you were interested in it at all, you were a guy that was actually seeking out an advantage that you didn't want anybody else to have because you wanted to get better. And all these tweets of like, if you can't deal with the lighting the way it is, then you're not a good Tarkov player. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, that's so bogus, because everybody was excited about the movement changes, the recoil changes. And that's like me saying, if you want Nikita to, it's the same thing I thought about those people. If you this is the same thing. This is the lighting of equivalent of, you want 3 clicks, go play CSGO.
Okay, wait,
just
about that?
gatekeeping, like,
I heard an explanation about that actually the other day that makes me kind of laugh, that maybe we're a little bit boomer, because I guess there's like a guy named 3 Clicks or something on YouTube, and he does like CS:GO videos or something like that. So I think the person was making a reference to that.
What if we were too boomer to understand it the whole time?
I'm pretty sure that's a thing. I forget who said it. 3 Clicks Philip. Oh, it's with K. Oh god.
Yeah,
okay.
3 KLIKS Philip.
Yeah.
See, he would have put the clicks with the KL if he was, you know what I mean?
I mean, for all we know, the original guy said that, and maybe we just assumed he was like illiterate.
No, I remember.
Oh, okay. But so anyway,
yeah, that would be hilarious. But it's
I had to correct us.
And the reason we found that funny, because it was just a manifestation of the exact sentiment we had been hearing from so many people, and that's the lighting, the lighting equivalent of that. You know what I mean? It's like it's so weird. So that was the thing with that was it was just, I wasn't really surprised that it went away. I was sad that it wasn't used as an opportunity to address community concerns. I don't understand. Yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms, but
you would think as like a developer, like you want to do what would make like everyone happy. You know what I mean? Like there are, I'm not going to like sacrifice a lot of things about like my stream. You know, if everybody came in and was like, we want you to play Fortnite, I'd be like, I'm not interested. Even if it would make everybody happy. Like there are certain things like that. But at the same time, if someone was like, hey man, it'd be awesome if like you stopped playing music, let's say, I would like not send the music to the stream. If everybody wanted that and it would unanimously like, you know, 10x my viewership and all that stuff, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
But like, there's so many easy things that
there's a difference. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between like add laser guns and you know what's crazy is that like the best one of the best performing tweets that I ever did of all time was, I tweeted Interchange would be the best map in video game history if the lighting was better and the fog was better and the extracts were better and Killa was better and the spawns were better, and it was like the best performing tweet, and the general sentiment in the comments was, yeah, that map is so cool, but it's unplayable. There's a difference between adding laser guns and Fortnite skins, sacrificing your vision, and 90% of the community going, you've built the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. I just want to see it. That's not that. There's a difference.
It's not a drastic change in your vision. Yeah, to give us vision.
So exactly. So like that's why I'm willing to be so passionate about this, is because like I don't feel like I'm asking Nikita to give in and sacrifice his vision for Escape from Tarkov by wanting to see on the map. That just is ridiculous to me. So yeah. So that was one thing of the community that happened. And then this was a smaller one, but like on Monday or whatever, it was Valentine's Day or Tuesday. I think it was Monday. They dissolved the content creator side of the Sherpa program.
Yeah, you're gonna have to tell me why. I don't understand
why they did it, or
like why. What, did something happen that I missed?
I don't think so. Listen, you know what's crazy is that almost every Sherpa. So I was in that group. I got de-Sherpified on that day.
Damn, you got broken.
I got broken up with on Valentine's Day. Almost every single person that I've talked to has been like, "That's actually probably a good idea," and I agreed. Like I wasn't mad at all. A lot of people got weird about it that weren't the Sherpas and was like, you know, it's just like take any opportunity to be like, yeah, the invisibility bugs in the game, but yeah, sure, work on your community relations. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it got weird, and I don't know why, but like nobody was mad about it. None of the people, like, it was funny that it happened on Valentine's Day, and it might have been a little weird that like we really didn't see it coming. But from my perspective, I can't speak for any of those other Sherpas. From my perspective, it totally makes sense for them to focus because there's two types of Sherpas. There's Sherpas that actually like go through on the website, on the forums, and respond to requests and like help people and like help them do a quest or just like teach them the map and stuff like that. There's them, and they're exactly Sherpas like us. And then there's the content creator Sherpas that were just like people that create a lot of content around educating streamers, whether they do that on stream or do it, in my case, on YouTube, right? I like 80% of my videos are new player guides or like breaking down certain things, right? And so there was that. And they just dissolved the content creator side, which makes total sense to me because because they didn't have any control over what I posted or what they wanted me to post. It was just like, I'm just out there doing my thing. And you've got,
it's almost like they're giving you not a badge of approval, but there's almost like it's kind of an unspoken sort of, he's a spokesperson or
a trustworthy guy, you know what I mean? And like, and that was the thing, is they didn't really want anything from me, and they didn't like get in there and tell me what type of content to make. And because of that, I often felt it was one of the most common questions I got on my stream. Why is your name green? And I a lot of times I was like, damn, I don't know, brother. I'm going to do all this anyway. Like I'm making content just cause I love to do it. You know what I mean? So people got weird with like, they're doing it because these streamers are starting to say crazy stuff, or they're doing it because the one thing I heard like a billion times was, it was like, because people were like going after it really hard to get it just for the recognition so people could come to my stream. And like, apparently at some point, maybe one guy who was a Sherpa just like hung out in the lobby all day looking for a group to like advertise his stream. But I don't even know if that's true. And all this stuff started coming up, and I was like, what? I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know anybody that was doing that. Maybe that happened, but that's not like maybe that did happen. That's like one, you know what I mean? So I don't know, that it got weird so fast for no reason. None of the people that I talked to on the team were really mad about it. It was surprising. It was funny. It happened on Valentine's Day, but it was like, I honestly think it's a better move. If they want to expand that team and they want to really start to like, prepare for maybe like 1.0, maybe that's where they're thinking, and like have a strong Sherpa team, it kind of makes sense to focus more on the people that are like actively doing the thing. And so, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't mad about it.
I think what's adjacent to this, and then the thing we want to get into next, it's kind of like a Venn diagram.
Yeah.
My gut reaction was, and this is completely ignorant to like all of the happenings, because it's been literally 3 years since I was in the emissary program, which I was in for like a month, and then ended up leaving because I had disagreements over how the Sherpa program. There were people arguing there. Actually, there's really one guy arguing that Sherpas should get a bunch of free gear, and they should be able to give the free gear to the people that they're Sherping. And I basically said, that's not the way you teach people, is give them free.
Yeah.
You teach them how to earn and you should be good enough that you can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and there was a big disagreement over it, and I just ended up being like, all right, this, you guys are weird. And then I ended up leaving. But yeah, I'm out of the loop. But my gut reaction was, there were two things recently that happened with like community BSG middlemen drama or whatever, and it was the two cases where, and I'm putting all of these in magic air quotes because I don't know what happened, I don't know the truth, and honestly I don't care, where two people were allegedly falsely banned for cheating because they got killed by, I think one was a dev, one was a streamer who might have even, I don't even know if it was a Sherpa, the whole Rengar thing, and then the whole whoever the dev thing is. They representative, with a funny colored name of BSG gets killed by someone, quote unquote, mauls about it, and then gets someone manually banned.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of what you were talking about, that sentiment over like good them, was similar to the anti-streamer sentiment where it's like, these guys, I hate all of these guys. They represent something that we don't like.
Yeah.
In this case, it was like people with some sort of affiliation endorsement of Battle State having quote unquote too much power. Whereas for me, it just seemed like it was a meaningless, you have a colorful name and that's literally it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's my take on it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard because we don't know. They said they wanted to take time and focus it. I don't think that those things. Yeah, I think that people are just looking for anything. I think a bunch of people and even some people in chat were like, it's Rengar's fault, and I just think that that's like
it's brain
dead. I think that's brain dead.
And we'll explain why when we get into the cheater stuff, because
Yeah.
I think that whole cheater Discord thing, because I think it's for all the same reasons. All of the arguments for like why he was at fault or whatever, and maybe we can premise. I don't even. Do we even want to get into that? We never talked about that, did we?
What? The Discord
that situation? No, the Rengar thing. Did we ever even talk about that? Do we even want to?
I mean, we can. Dude, I don't freaking care. Like that situation to me just felt like if the dude wasn't cheating, then why did he get banned? Right? You know what I mean? Like.
And it's not Rengar's fault.
It's not Rengar's fault at all.
What happened was Rengar is the streamer. We've talked about him before, actually.
Yeah, he's awesome. I run raids with him all the time.
He got killed in a way that at the time he felt was sus. For whatever reason, I don't even remember the clip, whether it was blatant or not. He felt, okay, it was a blatant cheater. I'm going to send the name over to whoever the contact is at BSG and we'll have him dealt with. Now, ultimately, like, okay, and then the person ended up allegedly getting banned falsely, and then I think, was he unbanned?
He was ultimately.
Okay, so then that indicates that the person was banned. It probably was manual, and it probably was false.
It was
in which case, my takeaway from that is, it's not Rengar's fault that when you die and you, like all of us, every single one of us, the only difference between streamers and people who aren't streaming is that you get emotional and you get upset and you get to be pissed off and mauled and nobody's watching you. So don't pretend like you don't get upset when you lose. Don't pretend like you don't think people are sus. You don't report people all like,
Here he died. And at the time, everyone in his chat, which was like 2,000 people, was like, that guy was cheating. The guy who got banned made the Reddit thread and said, I would have thought I was cheating too. Okay, so shut up. It was sus as hell. It was as sus as it gets without the dude reading me my social security number. He died 12 business days behind a rock. Okay? We all would have thought it was sus. Every single one of you would have reported that guy. All Rengar's fault was he said a joke that he said 1,000 times, and the joke just flew out into the universe and landed.
I didn't even get that context that it was a joke. The whole I'll get him banned in 10.
Banned in 10. Yeah. He sent the clip over. You know what I mean? Like he manually sent the clip over. You know what I mean? But like it was a meme. That's a joke. Like the whole banned in 10. I'm gonna get this guy. I'm gonna get this guy banned. I'm gonna get this guy banned. You know what I mean? I joke like that all the time. You know what I mean? I don't know who these people are sending these clips to. I actually don't know. You know what I mean?
Well, listen, I'll go so far as to say that I personally have done exactly what people were mauling at him about.
Yeah.
Where I was sure someone was cheating, and I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's getting banned. Yeah. And I send it right to Nikita, and you know what? As far as I can tell, most of them don't get banned.
Yeah.
Even, spoiler alert, the guy who I spoke to, the streamer who was like level 60 whatever that was cheating, admitted to it. We had that whole discussion. We ended up on Summit's like alt YouTube channel or whatever. He was still playing as of like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And here's the thing, because chat is already derailing itself. Rengar did not ban anybody. Yeah, he wasn't joking in the sense of he was actually mad about it, and he said I'm gonna get this guy, because he thought. But he was saying it in a sense, in something that he says all the time, like I'm gonna get this guy banned or this guy's banned, whatever. Dude, I don't care. He knew in his heart, as he said, that he was sending that clip to somebody it was their decision.
Who was going to do due diligence.
It was their decision. This is this is the craziest thing of all time that like he sent a clip to somebody whose literal job it is to determine whether this clip is a cheater or not. It's not Rengar's job to determine whether this guy's cheating or not. He sent it. Once again, if you're in this chat and you're like so weirdly anti-Rengar, think about if you had a direct line to somebody whose job it was to figure this out. When you die and you think it's sus, would you send those clips over, yes or no? Of course you would. Don't be stupid.
Think about it. Imagine if you hit that report button and you were wrong. Like we all know.
That's such a great point.
We all know that you're reporting a suspected cheater. None of us can know. None of us can really know. There are even cases where people flying and people who look like they're speed hacking were actually legit because of the weird teleportation desync. The person was at the spawn running in place for however long, and then they ended up catching up. But
functionally,
so imagine if someone came to you and said, "Wow, you have the responsibility," and you reported them and they got banned. It's your fault.
100%.
Give me
it's the most brain dead reverse. Like functionally, what happened it is no different than I think someone's sus. I report them on the launcher, they get banned, but they're not cheating, and then I get in trouble for it. All of the extra was flair, right? Like he got really dramatic about it, and he got really emotional about it. And sure, maybe he wasn't joking. Maybe he was actually looking up this guy's Facebook and trying to find him. I don't know. But it was all flair. What practically happened was he found someone was sus. He did an advanced version of the report because he had access to somebody who said, please go check on this clip. Those guys fumbled the ball so hard by banning a guy that was legit, and then Rengar got all the heat for it. I was and am genuinely confused. If you don't like Rengar, not everybody likes everybody. People don't like me. Sure, I can see that. If you don't like how
everybody likes me,
if you don't like how dramatic he got, that's fine. I can totally understand. Tyler 1 isn't for everybody. Guys who just get really dramatic. I can understand if you're just like, that guy sucks. But to blame, now, once again, I understand a part of it because what he said was literally, I'm going to get this guy banned. And it really looked like he just had a ban button.
Yeah.
But
that's why people are so brain dead that's their interpretation of what happened. That's why the people are morons.
Yeah. And if you understand that that's not how it works, if you know that what he did was send a clip to somebody and you still think it was his fault, you're brain dead. If you think, because you were super adjacent to the problem, if you think Rengar has a button where he can type in someone's name and hit ban, sure, I can understand how you think. But if you know that that's not how it works, that he sent the clip to somebody whose job it was to either get it to BattleEye, to review it, to look up that guy's account, then it's the most insane thing. It's the most insane thing.
It's absurd
of all time.
Everybody now, or a bunch of people in chat are now walking it back. It's just saying, well, we're upset that somebody has a direct line. They shouldn't have a direct line. And what I say to that is, yourself.
Yeah.
You think Nikita is going to give everybody out his personal Discord? Or do you think Nikita is going to never, ever talk to anybody?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I've spent enough time playing this game, and I've made enough videos and done enough research that I think I should have a direct line to Nikita. And if you disagree, go f yourself. I do. So I don't care if that upsets you. I've earned it. Now, that's not to say that other people, quote unquote, don't deserve it.
Yeah.
If any normie went and either put a video together or made a Reddit post or basically establish themselves as someone worth listening to for whatever reason, and they might be people who worked on, maybe they're a Valve dev who worked on Steam Audio. Maybe they work at Meta and they were an Oculus audio developer. Maybe they're a Unity expert with expertise in lighting or whatever.
Yeah.
I've connected people like that with Nikita, and they've helped him out. And those people had a direct line. They had a direct line,
but they weren't
because
streamers.
They were worth Nikita talking to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now I don't know who Rengar's contact was. It was probably some low-level random at BSG community, whatever.
Yeah.
The problem is that whoever it was that was there, whether or not it was Nikita, I'm almost positive it wasn't Nikita, whether it was him or whether it was anybody else.
Yeah.
The moment someone pulls the ban lever, it's out of his hands.
Yeah.
So the fact that we have connections that you don't have, don't be butthurt about it.
Yeah. And
it's absurd that you're upset that I can talk to Nikita.
Yeah.
You realize that that's why the game doesn't feel as dog as it did 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Was because I have a direct line to Nikita. If you disagree, go play the game a month ago. Enjoy.
Yeah. And so like I was really confused by that situation, because once again, like, you can make an argument, whatever. He was being over dramatic. He was making jokes or saying things that he shouldn't have. He shouldn't have played up the fact that he has a connection. And there might be a grain of truth in all of those things, but like I said, there might be a grain of truth in those things, but to be talking about that when 6 inches from your forehead, the greatest mistake ever happened, it's just absurd to me to like put on the little doggy cone and the binoculars and look at Rengar, you know what I mean? When like, I just couldn't believe how off the hook BSG got, you know what I mean? And the fact that they unbanned him, you know what I mean, means that he really wasn't cheating. You know what I mean? Like,
and here's something that I think a lot of people miss too in this conversation. In situations where I've done something very similar to Rengar, there was a reason for it.
Yeah.
It was strategic. The fact of the matter is that because some of us are prominent, however you want to define it, we get targeted sometimes by cheats. All the YouTube videos of, oh, hey, listen, I'm following around Summit and abusing Summit and harassing Summit, all of this in all kinds of other games. It's a thing that happens. So when that happens, you have a couple different ways you can respond. And just your personal preference doesn't matter. People can do whatever they want. Sometimes streamers will hide their screen and they won't acknowledge it and they won't give them the attention. That's one way of dealing with it, and it works sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. There's only so many times you can do that before you're obviously going to get upset. You can't really hide it, whatever. I personally, if I think I'm being targeted, I would say something like, oh yeah, I'm sending this to Nikita and this guy's getting banned in a moment. I say that in the hopes that the person might be like, oh, and might pump the brakes and back off. Even though I literally sent a clip of the streamer from a couple months ago. I sent a clip of him. He said, and I quote, someone in his chat said, wow, you haven't been banned yet? And he was streaming on his 3rd Twitch account on his level 69 character that he admitted to cheating on multiple times. And I have a clip of him saying, yeah, I'm not banned. Battlestate doesn't give a I sent that directly to Nikita. And he wasn't banned for 2 months. So don't tell me like I've got some ultimate god power because you simply are ignorant and you're brain dead. So I'm sick of people making up. I'm so worked up about this.
Like, and the whole concept, I saw you put this in chat that somebody was saying that he was abusing his power. 2,000 people that watched the clip, including the guy who got banned, agreed it was sus as hell. Like, what do you, like, abusing his power is dying to a legitimate person and sending that clip in saying, please ban this guy. That's abusing his power. It's the definition of that responsibility, of that power, to send suspicious reports. It was the most suspicious clip ever, dude. And that's what's crazy. It was the most suspicious clip. And that's actually an important word because the guy wasn't fly hacking. You know what I mean? Because that's the easy one. Boom, done, banned. You know what I mean? But like, it was so far in the realm. 2,000 people live agreed to it. The guy that literally just lost his multiple thousand-hour account agreed to it. Everybody agreed it was sus. That is not at all an abuse of his power. That is exactly what that through line was made for. Whether, and once again, if you don't think that through line should exist, that is another thing that would be Battle State's fault, not Rengar's fault. You know what I mean? Like, if you think that through line shouldn't exist, then it's so weird to get mad at Rengar about it because Rengar didn't go fly over to St. Petersburg and ask for someone's number. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So it's just like, it's just the craziest thing ever. Rengar apologized multiple times, which, you know what I mean? I don't even want to get in. Like I said, there might be a grain of truth into a lot of the things if you want to criticize Rengar, for sure. But there's a iceberg of truth in the fact that Rengar did not press ban on that guy. Somebody did, and that guy messed up. That guy messed up bigger than Rengar messed up. He did.
Yep. Oh, and also on that note, because someone else just mentioned something too. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to get into it. I'm not opening myself up to more.
Okay.
More either negativity or in this case positivity. I'm just not even going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, we're just going to move on.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah. So that was crazy. Anyways, so that kind of leads us into, I don't even know. It's so weird because this happened like 2 months ago, a month ago. But that kind of leads us to like, so a big thing going around, now is the community. It's like they're calling it like community anti-cheat, which I feel like might not be great. Might not be a great way to present what's happening.
Bad marketing is my opinion, but
yeah, bad marketing. But basically, a Trade 24K and Clean have worked out this like Discord where you can submit suspicious clips, and then that clip is reviewed by people. And if those people find it suspicious, it's sent to another group of people. It's reviewed by those people. And then if it's still found suspicious, it is sent to Battle State directly as a connect set up through Clean and Trey in this Discord, as like who will then review and look at things that we can't. Like they can then look into the guy's accounts and, you know, stuff like that, and then go from there.
Yeah, there's a lot to this.
Yeah.
There's a lot to this. I knew this was something that he was interested in doing for a while. I have kind of had my mostly quiet reservations, although I have mentioned a few times to him, I'm like, yeah, you got to be, especially coming off the back of the Rengar thing and all this stuff. I'm like, you got to be really careful. And I don't know if you saw, because I never really like asked, I guess, to like be a part of this. It was just kind of like, you know, here's the invite. How do I even say? This is one of those things that could be very good. It could also, depending on, you know, how things go, be not so great.
Yeah.
I made my feelings about it very clear in the Discord, in like the review channels where everybody who is responsible for looking at this stuff could see.
Yeah.
And I might as well just make it like public anyway. Contrary to what you might think from all the that I was just saying, I think that the biggest, and actually I've talked about this before. Yeah. I think the biggest atrocity is someone getting falsely banned.
Yeah.
To me, that's like the ultimate, like I will not stand for someone getting falsely banned. I would rather have 100 cheaters who I'm 99% sure be not banned to avoid falsely banning one legitimate person.
Yeah.
That's like the ultimate injustice, because I know how much of a impossible black hole it is.
Yeah.
Talking to BSG and or BattleEye to try to get that. You're in email hell for literal years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and if you're not lucky enough to have your Reddit thread pop off, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. Or if you're not a streamer, and that's one of those things that is when we talked about this before, when like Tweak and Anton got banned. See, here's the thing: if Tweak and Anton hadn't been banned way back in the day and then hadn't been unbanned, there would always be a question about whether or not false bans exist at all.
Yeah. But there were very public ones.
As soon as someone was unbanned, well, now what that did, the fact that they were prominent enough to get unbanned is actually the best thing that could happen for the community, because that then acknowledges that there have been false bans. Whereas before that happened, the sentiment was kind of like, yeah, we don't false ban. We never false ban. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the possibility that somebody who was like innocent ever getting unbanned got infinitely bigger. Yeah. The moment that streamers who were prominent enough to have a platform enough to have the pressure to get unbanned, that is a good thing, whether or not it directly or has, opened up anything or not. It's at least a good thing for everybody. I forgot where I was going.
You were talking about just the injustice of false bans in relation to the community anti-cheat.
So there were a few different things. One, in my opinion, the value that comes from something like this is one thing and one thing only. And this also is predicated on the fact that there's an infinite amount of information we do not have about what BSG does, what capabilities they have, what BattleEye does, what capabilities they have, how the system works, how the monitoring, scanning, I don't know any of that. Yeah. But here's a universe in which this community-driven cheat thing is a good thing. If 1 million clips come in, all of these clips would have been, reported on the forums or the Reddit or whatever, and instead they get filtered out by whoever. Filtered out by whoever. And if what falls through the filter is the people flying around giving you your social security number. Yeah. The people who are like, I can see you, I know your KD, I know whatever, they're floating, the blatant obvious. Yeah. If then that information of the username and the raid code can go to BSG and BattleEye, and then imagine they can flip a switch that's like do a deep scan of their system. Yeah. Really look hard to figure out what's running on their system, because maybe they can look for maybe questionable or sus .exes that are running. Maybe it's Adobe Photoshop with 2 P's .exe when really, I mean, I'm completely making up how the cheats work and how they're hidden. But this is something that, like, what it does is it focuses on, like, this is the murderer's house, figure out how they murdered the person. Yes. That's a different story than if you say, I don't know they're a murderer, because you might waste your whole time trying to find the murder weapon.
Exactly.
So that is where the value could come in that they could say this person's like 99.5% cheating. My opinion is that nobody on planet Earth should ever be banned manually by a human being, ever. The only criteria should be the discovery of some process manipulating, reading, writing, memory, network packets. There has to be a detection of software. Yeah. Otherwise, I actually don't even like the whole, they have a 200 KD. I don't like that either, because we've seen, like, people that are major outliers with stats for whatever reason. Yeah. Maybe it's like, that friendly guy who never kills anybody. Like, his stats are in one direction. Yeah. But maybe there's somebody who's like they're
grinding
playing the
factory.
yeah,
for
grinding
scavs.
factory, and you know, they get 30 kills every game.
Yeah.
Like I can do in a factory run when I'm half paying attention listening to chat.
Yeah.
So and there's someone in chat says, oh, but there's people running programs on a second PC. I understand that. I understand how the networking works with, you know, people running radar and all that stuff. But again, I am of the opinion that nobody should ever be falsely banned.
Yeah. And so you have to be extra careful with manual bans. Yeah.
Because here's the problem. The moment, and I think I talked about this whole, you put a rod on your own back. The moment you accept that there's some reasonable doubt that you can be banned based on stats or banned based on clips or banned based on, even if there's 30 experts who all look at the clip and all determine it. I don't trust 30 human beings. I don't care who they are, whether they work at BattleEye, they work at BSG, or they're streamers or they're data analysts. I don't trust human beings to look at clips or to look at stats and to be able to prevent me from ever being falsely banned due to some other. The moment you accept it, you're accepting that you could lose your $150 account, make it so that your computer is hardware ID banned, because they do hardware ID ban. And if you're not a cheater, you're not the one who's hardware ID spoofing.
Yeah.
So you have to buy a new computer and a new account if you ever want to play Tarkov again.
Yeah.
And maybe they flag your IP, so maybe you need a VPN. I don't know. I don't know how any of that works because I don't cheat. But that's all I'm saying. But I made all of this clear.
Yeah.
And then there's one last thing, and then I'll shut the up.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of clips, of clips that have already been submitted that are straight up, this is an invisible player. This is netcode.
Yeah.
This is someone's runs, they peek up, they see nothing, they run away, and all of a sudden they get shot with a bunch of bullets in their head and they die. And it's like, that shouldn't be something that I would want to filter in and say, hey, BSG, look into this.
Yeah.
That to me, the downside to sending a lot of clips like that is that BSG, if they get a bunch of people that it's inconclusive, it's going to completely water down and completely make all of this irrelevant. They're not going to take it seriously. They're not going to give and everybody's going to be wasting their time.
Yeah. No, and I think that's it, is where like I actually really do see potential value in it as well. And it all determines on like the effectiveness of it, right? Like if the people who are involved, who get to be a part of it, let emotion drive and it'd be like, yeah, there's something similar like this happened to me, so this was totally a cheater, and it waters it down. But like you were saying, where like you know, it's said before that it's like it's a constant battle, right? Like the cheats evolve, so the anti-cheat evolves, so the cheats evolve, so the anti-cheat evolves. And so it doesn't seem crazy to me that there could be real good value in like if over a weekend a bunch of more than usual reports of like fly hacking. Like, I don't know if you saw the clip of Trey, but like Trey was on his Kappa speed run with Toothy and he had been grinding interchange to find Killa, and a flying cheater flew up to him, you know, the one knee up weird thing. And the guy was like, Killa's on the map, you want to go get him? And Trey's like, no, like I've been grinding for him forever. And then the guy goes, bop, 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 Killa's dead, let's go get him, and flies over to him. And Trey was like super frustrated, right? Like, if over a week,
scan that guy's machine.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. If over a weekend we all of a sudden start to see more than usual clips, and those clips come in, and those clips get filtered in, then it kind of makes sense that this might actually be a way to expedite this being brought to the attention of BattleEye. Because by definition, when a new cheat works, BattleEye can't see it. So the algorithm, the machine that is BattleEye, can't see the thing. The cheat is working. It doesn't know it's not finding something. But if all of a sudden over the weekend, you know, 50 to 100 clips come in, they get filtered in, and then Battlestate Games and or BattleEye can say, we know these accounts are cheating. They're doing something. Let's do the deep dive. Exactly like you put it. This is the murderer's house. You know what I mean? This is.
Oh my God. And the irony is that this is exactly the opposite of what the same people that are upset about the whole, like, you're abusing your position. It's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Because this is a bunch of streamers who joined together and said, let's give the voice to the people.
Yes. Yep.
Because otherwise nobody can send their clips to BSG. They're not going to give a fuck. blocked and nobody's going to
Exactly.
pay attention.
Exactly.
In this case, now your clips actually maybe could do something.
Exactly.
And you might actually have a voice.
Exactly. So the aggregate of this, like, it makes sense in my brain. Once again, I'm not a cheater, so pardon me if I'm ignorant about how some of this works. But like, it makes sense to me that that could actually be a way to expedite the attention brought to a specific type of cheat or a specific type of hack around a specific time. And you know, maybe that could help. I think obviously we've talked many times about how like there's different types of cheaters. They're the people that rage hack, and then there's people who literal whole livelihood is determined by not being found out. They'd rather die to a legit player than be considered sus because they're making money off of it. This isn't really going to do anything for that, for the RMTers, right? Because like you might die to that guy and it seems super legit because he wanted to make sure it seemed legit because he's trying to RMT and hoover a bunch of stuff for money. But this really could. So once again, it depends on a few things. It depends on the quality of the people reviewing the clips, and it depends on if they actually really look at it through the way that they let people, you know, they let the right clips through. And then it depends on what BSG does with the information, right? Once again, it wouldn't be Trey's fault if all of these clips, Trey has made it very, very clear in every video, every time he talks about it, nobody in the Discord, nobody a part of it has the power to ban anybody. What they're trying to do is filter out people who legitimately seem like they're cheating and sending it away. It's at that point, once again, it's not even Trey's fault if somebody gets falsely banned. What they want to do is say, hey, these are things that you know, we as really trusted members of the community say, this is way, way whack and crazy. Please look into this further. And so a huge part of how effective it is how does VSG handle the information, right? Because we've seen instances where people get banned really, really quickly that were cheating. And we've seen instances where you send a clip of a guy saying BSG doesn't care and that guy doesn't get banned for 2 months. So a huge, you know, gear here is what they do with the information. You know what I mean? So, but I don't inherently like, I think conceptually I see a lot of value in it, in the types of cheats that really are like brutal. The fly hackers, the people that like, would just have, yeah, this is just, we can go down a rabbit hole, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
think conceptually it has value.
The way I looked at it too is I literally said, everybody in this Discord, everybody doing the reviewing, even though I don't think any of these things are going to lead to, like, it's BSG that pulls the trigger. Yeah. So even if we get it all wrong and we give BSG a bunch of innocent clips, if anybody gets banned, it's literally BSG's fault. Yeah. But I said, we all need to be reasonable and skeptical about all of the things, because I think most people are bad judges on cheaters, to be honest. I think the average person is just dog, and that includes streamers. Streamers are average people. The average streamer / person is complete and utter dog at looking at a clip and telling them someone's cheating unless they're flying and it's obvious. Everything else is a big question mark. So what I said was, unless you want to be in a situation where everybody's trying to cancel you like Rengar was a few weeks ago, you don't want to be the one that does the check mark for, yup, I think this person was cheating, and then that person gets falsely banned. So think twice about how you handle this. Yeah. Basically, like, hopefully that'll scare people into being skeptical. Yeah. And you don't want to be responsible for even being someone who puts up someone for consideration for the electric chair, let alone the person who pulls the switch. And I also just checked, remember I talked about a couple weeks back, the dude who was like harassing the other guy, and who killed me as well. Yeah, he's level 50 now and he's already changed his name again. He's not banned either. So again, this whole idea that we all have like infinite power, we can get people banned, as far as I can tell, have sent 2 blatant obvious cheaters to them, and nothing's come from it. So clearly that doesn't mean that they just pulled the trigger. And I wouldn't even be surprised, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if some of this might not be in response to that whole situation where now it's like, let's pump the brakes on any and all manual bans. Yeah. even if they're blatant, because we don't need the bad PR.
Yeah.
So now everybody getting butthurt about it is we've gone full swing back the other way, and maybe they put bans on pause. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
Maybe that would explain why things feel like the last few weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I agree. Like I am just I'm too exhausted in my life to like have strong stances about the cheater situation. Cheaters suck, and I hope they all stub their toes and their motherboards get fried. And there's absolutely a cheater problem in Tarkov, but it's just like, it's too exhausting to have the conversation over and over and over again. Where do the accounts come from? BSG makes money. Nikita loves the cheaters. This guy got falsely banned, or this guy hasn't been banned, or that's sus, or that's desync, or that's this, or that's that. Like, it's just so exhausting. And like a lot of people have put, in chat tonight and all over Twitter, the whole like, it's so egregious and unexcusable and gross that BSG has us doing their dirty work. And I think that like you're kind of choosing to have that view, by the way, like a group of people who are super influential, more influential than you, not you, Veritas, but like if you're listening to this, a group of people that are way more influential than you said, we want to help. Here's how we think we can help. And here's a way to do it that gets people who aren't influential involved. And BSG said, sure. I don't know if they said, I don't think that's going to work, but sure. Maybe they said, sweet, we can get rid of BattleEye, but sure. They didn't say that. But they allowed this to happen, right? So to come at it from BSG as having us do their dirty work, you're choosing to think that, because that's not what's happening. BSG did not approach Clean or Trey and say, BattleEye is just, we can't get it under control. Can you start banning cheaters for us? That's not what happened. They said yes to something that we are yet to determine how effective it is. So like, and what's weird is that like, it's of course, it's only when people are pissed that they get mad. For 2 years, I've heard nonstop that we need a manual review team, right? Like people in chat are always coming in and be like, we need a manual review team, like CSGO did,
we want
Overwatch. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
this is the closest we're gonna get.
This is the closest we're gonna get to that, and all of a sudden, it's like Battlestate Games is having us do their dirty work. I think that's unfair to Battlestate Games, and I think it's unfair to like Trey and Clean and whoever put this together. Once again, we have yet to see how effective it is, and it'll probably never be like a, yes, it's working, all the cheaters are banned, but it might make a dent. And as long as like you were saying, like your main point here, as long as the appropriate precautions are taken so that no one is ever clicking the button with any shadow of a doubt that this person might not be, as long as they can commit to that, then it might help. It might be a part, and it might be beneficial, and it might get some people banned, and that could be dope. So like,
and you know what it also could do? It might also, like, to me, my opinion, the most likely scenario is this obviously has been noteworthy enough that everybody's talking about it, that all of the cheaters basically say either tone it down, or people stop rage hacking, making it obvious. Especially with streamers, but also with anybody, because anybody can report it.
Yeah.
So you'll see less people flying. It doesn't necessarily mean there'll be less cheaters.
Yeah.
But you might see less blatant.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, may or may not be a good thing. I don't know. That to me is the most likely scenario.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I just at the end of the day, just stop being so dramatic. You know what I mean? Like, we'll see. If BSG starts shoving in, if BSG starts taking these clips and just ban, and we see over the weekend 400 legitimate people posting on Reddit, then let's burn it down. Let's burn it to the ground, and let's hold BSG's feet to the fire for banning all these wrong people.
If you or I get banned from this, that's the best possible scenario.
Yeah.
Because neither you or I are cheating, and no, I don't think anybody thinks we are.
Yeah.
That would be best case, because that right there would like prove a flaw.
Yeah, an undeniable systemic flaw in the system. You know what I mean? Like,
we would make that much of a fuss, and make that much of a public thing that now it would call the thing into question and it would get shut down, right? So I don't know.
So it's just like, it's one of those things where, just people are being dramatic. I don't think this Discord is going to stop cheating in Escape from Tarkov, right? Like, I think that's a ridiculous sentiment, but I think it has.
Which is why they shouldn't have called it anti-cheat.
Yeah, but I do think it has potential to actually like help BattleEye potentially look in the right direction for some things. Get some people that are maybe rage hacking and rage hack up to 62, maybe get them banned, and maybe expedite the process of some people getting banned that deserve it. I hope that's the case. I hope it works out great. And until we know it doesn't, like, just don't be a part of the Discord if you hate it. That's just as simple as that. Stop playing the game if you hate it, by the way, please, for the love of God. And just don't be a part of it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. It's crazy. The community was definitely on crack this week with all the stuff. But yeah, so that was that. That was that.
Yeah, so I mean, in a nutshell, we're going to be getting better lighting on interchange, and cheaters are going to be gone. So it's going to be a good week next week. The game's going to be playable. Hit regs. I'm looking forward to really all the things being fixed.
All of them.
And by that I mean it's 7 days until Corporal Space Program 2 comes out, and I'll be a KSP2 streamer full time.
There you go.
We might have to postpone the podcast until Friday night, because I'm gonna. No.
Does it come out on Thursday?
It comes out Friday.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you can so we can talk about it. Yeah.
I'm like, now welcome to the Kerbal Space Program podcast. Where everybody's gonna have to start calling me Delta V, and only 3 people listening understand that joke. Sorry. And I just thought about it now, and it's actually fucking genius.
Delta V.
Holy, that's so good.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So that's the stuff, fam. Yeah. I don't know.
You got any story time?
No.
Or is it on me again?
It's on you. I gotta come up with some story times, dude.
I got another short one. I can do.
Okay.
The stabbing is a longer one. Breaking into a house is short. Ruptured spleen is relatively short. Sun Microsystems $1 million is actually pretty short. The stabbing is a long one. Yeah, so maybe I'll do shotgunning a beer bloodshed.
Okay.
I'll do that today. This is one that, content warning, if you're squeamish and don't like blood.
Oh god.
It's another one of these. I've told this before already. So this was in college, was up in there were like normal dorm rooms, but we also had what was called the suites, which was like the new building up at the top of a big hill, where it was basically a bunch of like apartments where like usually upperclassmen stayed. And there was like, 4 rooms maybe with like, so there'd be like 6 people, and there was like a, the male building or the male floors or the female rooms, or however it was split up. Anyway, we were at a party there, and we were all shotgunning beers. And for those of you guys who don't know what shotgunning beers are, basically you have a can of beer, and usually people use their keys.
Mm-hmm.
I think historically, I mean, that's what I've only ever seen people use keys, but basically you don't open the can, you punch a hole in the side of the can. And the hole in the side of the can is where you're going to be drinking out of. So basically, when you go to drink and I don't condone this unless you're over 21 or you're applicable. Nah, this wasn't in GTA. Although don't drink unless you're in GTA, unless you're over your legal drinking age in your jurisdiction. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not going to be held responsible for blah 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 blah, etc. So So yeah, you put your mouth up to the hole, and then when you turn it upside down, you crack the the actual normal can, the opening of the can, which gives you like an air flow so that you can just chug the beer through the hole. Anyway, so as I've talked about before, I've always carried like pocket knives, just because they're so useful opening packages, all this other stuff. The all the times like I'm going to talk about in the future with the stabbing, sometimes you just need the pocket knife. Now in this case, I didn't have my keys on me because I was in college, so I walked there. And there's no B, there's just A. I walked there. I didn't have my keys. But I had my pocket knife, which was an Ontario Rat 1 first edition.
Okay.
For those of you who
shout out Ontario knives.
Yeah, it's a nice little affordable blade.
Little slicer.
I don't think. Yeah. I mean, it's not. I've got a couple of Benchmades and some other some Spyderco, some decent little choppers. But this was in college, so that's what I used to open up the can. Okay. Now, I had shotgunned a handful of beers already, and at one particular time, I went and I popped the beer open with the knife, chugged the beer, and I looked down, and right here on my hand, like the palm of my hand on the outside, on the base of my thumb, was blood. And I was like, oh, I nicked myself at some point, either with the knife
or the can
or with the can, because those are sharp. So I go lick it, and I look down, and there's no cut. And then I start frantically looking around like, until I look up and I see my buddy. Now, his name is, we called him Steve-O. His name was Steve, but Steve-O, like Steve-O from Jackass, very much. He was one of those guys. He was giving off those
vibes. He was that kind of Steve.
I look over, and he looks down at his hand.
No.
And he's like,
no.
Joe, I'm bleeding.
No.
And I was...
No.
Nightmare scenario. The nightmare scenario.
It couldn't get worse than that.
No, and it was out of everybody at the party, there was probably 15 guys, 15 girls. He was the last one you'd want to be the one whose blood you consumed by accident. Oh, dude.
Brother.
The moment you look down, I've never, and now for the rest of my life, for a decade, over a decade since this happened, if I ever think I have a cut, I will
find the cut first.
I find the cut first before I...
Bro, but what's crazy is...
Even if I'm alone in my house, I'm like...
Is as disgusting as that is, yeah, it's like we all would have done the same thing, right? Especially 4, 5, 6 beers deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like,
you got a little cut on your finger?
Keep the party going. You know what I mean?
There's no cut. And the moment, the realization of there's no... I can't describe to you it was like if you've ever saw... what was the movie with Scream? Remember Scream?
Oh, yeah.
The white little ghost mask. When they find out the call is coming from inside the house, that was the moment. Like, I know exactly what they felt like in that movie when it was like the blood's coming from not me,
outside the house.
Oh God,
bro,
yeah,
that is insane.
And I'm probably gonna save someone from a bloodborne illness, by communicating this to thousands and thousands of people. Yeah, so just
check
be careful.
Your cuts. Bro, oh my god, that
actually reminds me of another one.
Shot.
This is not even long enough to make another story. When I was little, there's a roller skating place down the street.
Okay.
One of those, like they were playing NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, and we're all just rollerblading around, roller skating around in circles. I was in like elementary school, maybe like 3rd grade or something. And for some reason, there was a payphone over by the all the arcade machines.
Okay.
For some reason, I had the idea of, like, I wonder what happens when you dial 911.
Bro.
When you don't put money in.
I did the same thing, bro.
You did?
I did the same thing at a mall when I was like 6.
And did what happened to me happen to you, which was within 10, 15 minutes, the whole NORAD shows up with the fire trucks and the F-1 bombers. Like, we're here, we got a call.
When you're a kid, that's what it feels like, bro.
Dude, you dial 911, it's like ring, ring, and you're like, huh, that's weird. I didn't put any quarters at 911. What's your emergency? And you go, ooh, hang up the phone. Oh, God. And I remember the fireman coming in like, what happened?
Dude, yep. I think, dude, I was a kid. I was super young. I can't remember. We were at a mall, dude, and there were payphones. I was with my family, and I was messing with him. My brothers and I were messing with him, dude, and I dialed 911. And I think I was like messing around and I was like, help me or something, bro. And just hung up. And I just had no concept.
Oh, you actually talked to them?
I had no concept of what was happening. And dude, and like 10 minutes later, all these dudes show up and they're like, did anyone dial 911 here? And my dad was like, and I was like,
this was pre like cameras everywhere too.
Yeah,
They might have had like VHS.
Bro. I remember because this was in Pennsylvania. I was so young. You know what I mean? I was like 5 or 6. You know, it was, yeah. That
Dude,
was.
Now you think about all the crimes that are committed. Like everybody's got like doorbell cameras.
Yep.
When I hear about someone who was like a murderer and they were found out because they were tracked for 20 minutes on camera. And it's like they got like 9 Main Streets camera, 11 Main Streets camera.
Yep.
Like they could, the guy could walk across the town and you'd have like full
visual. Yep. It's pretty crazy.
Wild.
It's crazy.
Yeah, dude, I like having maybe we'll get sponsored one day. I won't even say the brand because I want them to.
Yeah, you come to us.
Now that we're you know, bigwigs here.
Yeah.
And don't have a sponsor for this video.
No, but it could be you, brand.
Yeah. Dude, having a little oh, someone's at your front door and be able to pop up in the camera and
yeah. The only problem is the dystopian side of that is that all those people are just saving all the video and learning
of what my UPS guy.
No, yeah.
True.
Yeah, but dude, that's funny. It's so funny when you said that you dialed 911. It was like core memory unlocked. I just like remembered being a kid in that mall, and I was like 911.
One of the few times, and it was very much like the bloodshed incident where it was probably one of the first moments where you had pure terror.
Yes.
As a child, like I did something bad. Oh no, I'm going to jail. This is what happens.
Yeah.
I thought like, okay, well I've got AIDS. Like I'm dead.
Yeah. Dude, for weeks I
saw Rent. This is not going to be fun.
This is it. It's with Steve-O, for God's sakes.
Yeah, God. I mean, even Johnny. I would have taken Johnny Knoxville over Steve-O.
Over Steve-O. Damn. Damn. That's so funny.
Yep.
Well, that's it. That's story time. That's the Tarkov news. Everybody just calm down, have some fun. And Kerbal Space Program comes out in a week.
Everybody calm down. Find a new game to play.
Find a new game to play. Dark and Darker's over. That's why all the drama happened. It's Dark and Darker ended. Everybody was frothing at the mouth. Well, now KSP's coming out. It was another game. Mm-hmm. But yeah, thank you guys as always for hanging. Thanks for being a part. The community has been insane. It's been going crazy on YouTube and the podcast downloads. Like we've been you guys have been just like showing up like crazy since the wipe. So thank you to all the new people that have been finding the podcast. We appreciate you. As per usual, this episode will be live Monday morning on all the podcasting platforms and on YouTube's. I felt like I was 80 years old when I said that. Thank you guys so much for hanging.
Ronald Jenkins.
Yep. And we'll definitely see y'all on the next one.
See you later.